This little meme came up on my social media, posted by a friend. You may have seen it. I bought a cow for $800 and sold it for $1,000. I bought it again for $1,100, then sold it again for $1,300. How much did I earn? The amount of people saying the profit is $400 is baffling. At first you think it is $200 made the first transaction, $200 made in the second transaction. That's what we're told. But what you forget is, if all you have is that $1,000 from the first sale, where do you get the other $100 to buy it back again? The cow has appreciated in value by $100 in the meantime, and that will go to the previous owner, the one who bought it from you. But you buy it back, you have to find the $100. But if you have that sort of capital lying around, then it's not a problem for you. You've made $400 in 2 transactions. And someone tried to say to me, you only lose money on sales, not purchases. This is the capitalist way of thinking. And let's be honest, this isn't about cows. This is about property speculation. The person who buys your house off you and then waits and it appreciates in value and then sells it back to you has made money. That's money you've lost because you didn't own the property for that time and you've had to find the extra cash to buy it. Now, for the capitalist who has plenty of capital, that's not a problem. But for you, that all you have is what you've bought the house with, basically that's your income, that's all you have in your savings, you have to find the extra cash. Therefore, you are down. If you had not sold the house, you would have got the appreciation yourself. Many years ago, in the first big sort of boom we had after Thatcher, first property boom, I was sitting in my car one day and I remember looking at houses about being built, thinking, that's bricks and mortar and glass going into a plot of land, and there's a value to that because the land costs so much and the materials and the labour to make it. That's the intrinsic value of that house, but it will be sold for more than that because the developer will make a profit. And the first buyer, the first owner, will buy it at, say, for the sake of argument, 100,000. They will then sell it on in a few years' time for 130,000 because the property market is booming, supply and demand. Owner number 2 will then sell that on in another 3 or 4 years for 160,000. Owner number 3 will go through a better boom and in 1 year sell it for 200,000. And so this goes on until the house reaches an age where it's no longer viable. It's starting to crumble. It wasn't made that well, not like those stone castles of medieval time. And the amount of work to be done to repair the wear and tear on it is just too much. So owner number, say, 8 or 9 will have bought it for maybe 250,000. And right away, shortly after that, they realise they bought a lemon. And they have to knock it down and rebuild. And all they're left with is the value of the land. And they could have lost, what, maybe 200,000. But then you ask yourself, all those people who made the profit, the previous owners, during the boom time, how did they make that profit? Because the intrinsic value of the mortar, the bricks, the glass, the labour, hasn't really changed much. But the appreciation is purely an arbitrary effect of the market, plus supply and demand, as I said. Where did they get the profit from? When you consider that the final owner has lost that amount of money. And what you're saying is their profits came from the future. They were making profit on a building that would eventually lose its value. And it's the final owner who makes the loss. So property speculation will always lead to a loss in the future. And of course you get developers, capitalists saying, oh no, property will always make money. And they know that because they have plenty of capital. Now whenever house prices start falling, there's a glitch in the market. They'll know how to hold on. They'll know how to wait until the prices really drop and then use what capital they have to buy up the houses at a low price and then watch them rise again. They can do that. The person who only owns 1 or 2 properties might not be able to afford to do that. The bank might call in the mortgages. Buy-to-let mortgages can be called in and they've been made to sell. and they will sell it at a lower price and lose. And the speculators who have the capital, the capitalists, will buy them up. It's an inevitable process when appreciation happens on nothing than the supply and demand market. No intrinsic increase in value. And this is the sort of thing that many people who are really against capitalism warn about. It's not rewarding your labour, what you've earned. It's rewarding capital and how it can be invested and made to make more. Here's one I made earlier. Follow me for more.